What's up, Tribe? How you guys doing? New show alert. I'm a little late with it because it's about 2 weeks old, but you know, I'm getting caught up. New show alert. Love listings. I wasn't sure if I was gonna review it, and so, but I decided I'm gonna go ahead and review it because it's actually like it's pretty decent and it's sort of fresh. Sort of a new. It's along the lines of like, what's that show like $1 billion properties or $1 million properties or something like that. So this is dealing with high end African American or people of color real estate um, brokers in Los Angeles, right? We know Los Angeles is the city of a whole lot of luxury and abundance and so forth. So um, we see the first character. Well, the main character that this show seems to sort of be centered around is Jacob, and he's the son of Suge Knight. So of course he's like the name. Everybody knows who Suge Knight is. He's trying to get his real estate license and get and get into the real estate game. He said, that basically when his dad got arrested, the money was gone. Like his dad had this $900 million empire or $300 million empire, whatever he called it, and then it was just gone. And we know that happens a lot, especially in situations when somebody gets arrested, there's no more money coming in, whatever. We know it can easily be gone. um so but we start the episode off with Zach is a former NFL football player who has now gone into real estate. And that's really his bread and butter, is that he has relationships with a lot of athletes. They know him, or they play with him, or they respect his judgment, because he's like, look, I know what an athlete needs in a home. There are things that people feel are luxuries, but they're not necessarily luxuries for an athlete. For example, a theater room. He was like, for most people, a theater room is sort of a luxury. However, for an athlete, it's sort of a necessity because they need to be able to look at game film. They need to have some place where they can relax and watch their game film. Now, granted, they can watch it on a regular TV, but I understand what he's saying. Same thing about a pool. He says, again, yeah, a pool is luxury, but for a lot of athletes, it's sort of a necessity for different things dealing with rehab and muscles and things of that nature. So he's like, look, I know what they need. When they tell me what they're looking for, I certain things they don't even have to explain to me. And so we start this episode off seeing him making a deal with a football player, a current player, and his wife. And they were going through the house. It looked like a nice house, and the house was, they wanted 3-3 on it. They're gonna make an offer, I think 3-1, and y'all know how that goes. You negotiate from there. So we see him sort of making a deal. He said, I don't pop no bottles till the check is cash. He said, making an offer is not closing a deal. And anybody who's ever bought a house knows. Hell, I ain't even gonna talk about how many offers I put down before I got my offer was accepted, and then even going from that process to going to closing. It's a process. Just because you make an offer and just because that offer is accepted does not make it automatic. So anyway, then we meet Jacob and his friend Taylor. Now, y'all tell me in them comments, Taylor looks very familiar to me. Do we know Taylor? Has she been on another reality show, or have we seen her somewhere before? Because she just seems very familiar to me. Now, the thing with Taylor and Jacob are best friends. They seem like they've been friends for a long time. Um, Taylor is 19 though, so she's young in this game. She seems like she's getting into the game. She passed her real estate license. She's working for a high end Agents of LA, a high end luxury real estate group. And Jacob is sort of working with them, but really more apprenticing with them because he can't sell anything yet because he doesn't have his license. And they were like, it's not uncommon to see people take their real estate license more than one time. Like, it's hard to pass. And she said she lucked up and passed it the first. Where you say luck up? She was able to pass it the first time, but Jacob is having a hard time passing the exam, and she's helping him study and things of that nature. Um, and he talks a little bit about his father, and that their relationship has been up and down. It's been sort of strained. His father has not 100% been in his life. He's been in and out, and this is the same son that went viral because he was talking about how Tupac is in the studio and Tupac is alive, and he said his reason for doing that was so people could see how ridiculous they were for insinuating that his father had something to do with Tupac dying. I don't make that connection. He was like, well, I just want to see how easy people understand how easy it is to throw a lie out there and people believe it. That ain't why people believe your daddy killed Tupac. Mm-mm. No, people got good reason to believe your daddy killed Tupac. That's all I'm gonna say. So we see them actually meet up with their boss, and their boss, they are meeting with Vanessa Simmons, and she's shopping for a new home. And it was very interesting to see the dynamic. The Taylor seems to think that she's an agent, a full agent, and she's ready to show houses on her own, and she's ready for that next step. Like, I don't know why he feels like he needs to continue to shadow me because I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. The boss seems to feel like she's still learning. She's still sort of an apprentice, and she's shadowing me so that she can continue to learn. Now, in this showing of the house, I can see where she still has some things to learn, but I can also see what her reasoning was. So, at one point, Vanessa asked about the furniture that was in the house. You know how they use they use furniture to stage houses. So there was no reason for Vanessa to not think that the furniture was like just from a warehouse somewhere. And she said, what is the possibility of some of this furniture being included in the sale of the house? And Taylor's thing was, we can ask. And her boss cuts her off, and he's like, no, no, no. This is custom, one of a kind. The owner is not going to part with this. This is, and Vanessa's thing was, well, I mean, it don't hurt to ask, right? Like, we can't ask them. If they say no, they say no. But can we ask? And Taylor's thing was, of course we can ask. Of course it doesn't hurt to ask. What's the big deal about asking? So you can definitely, and of course they're rolling their eyes and back and forth at each other. But what was interesting though was that Vanessa was leaning towards Taylor more than the boss. And then something else they kind of did was they kind of connected on that whole hip hop thing. But I feel like Taylor stepped a little bit out of her professionalism because she started talking about how much of a crush she had on Diggy Simmons and how fine she thought Diggy was, and I was like, okay, you stepping a little bit out of the professionalism a little bit. Bring it back to the middle, boo. Bring it back to the middle. Um, so then we have is it Ajane? I hope I'm saying that right. Ajane is from Chicago or Detroit. She's from one of them cities. Moved out to LA. She does have a real estate license, but of course it's been hard to get her foot in the door. And the thing about being in real estate is it's a commission based field. You only make money if you sell property, and if you're not selling any property, you don't have an opportunity to make any money. So we see where she's meeting with her boss, and he's giving her the opportunity to earn her first commission. And he negotiates with her 60-40 split, and he's hooking her up with Sean Kingston, show him a property. And his thing is, and she was like, oh my gosh, like, is that a potential client? He was like, no, that is your client. Like, I'm giving you Sean Kingston. We've already selected the properties for him, but he is your client. You're going to pick him up. You're going to take him to the property. You're going to show him the property. And if he chooses to buy the property, I'm going to split that commission with you 60-40. And she was like, and she tried to negotiate with him. I ain't mad at her for trying to negotiate with him, but he was like, I tell you what, you could take 60-40, or you could take zero. She was like, "No, be good. 60-40 be good." Because in the meantime, she's waitressing and stuff. They showing her working at Hooters. Because she was like, "Look, I still got to pay my bills while I'm trying to, get my foot in the door." So we see her, and he said, "Look, we're gonna go and get this Rolls Royce. You're gonna pick Sean Kingston up in the Rolls. You're gonna take him to this property." And when they get to the property, the boss is there with another I guess another employee of the firm. But what we find that's a little bit different with the way this boss handled things versus the way Taylor's boss handled it was he let her sell that property. And when at one point Sean was kind of like, well, this really isn't, it's nice, it's a nice spot and everything, but it's not really what I was kind of looking for, you know um but then she sold it. She was like, well, we wanted to put you in downtown LA because you're close to this and you're close to that and easy access to this. And this building, we got people like Kobe Bryant live in this building. So we know that it's going to be secure and da 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 da. I mean, she sold it. I give her credit. She sold it. Now, one of my only knocks on her, though, was, again, in my opinion, she got very unprofessional. And she started talking about how much, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in a car with Sean Kingston. Oh my gosh, I'm so, and I'm like, if your aspiration is to go into high end real estate, then you have to know that you're going to constantly be in contact with celebrities and movers and shakers, and you can't be starstruck because the last thing they want to do is deal with somebody that is they and nobody trying to deal with that all the time. You know what I mean? Like you have to maintain that professionalism. And I get it that that was her first celebrity client. But go in the bathroom and scream and dance and shake and do all that stuff you need to do, and then you come back out and you put on your professional hat. You know what I mean? But it didn't seem to deter him. He seemed to really like her. And so in the car on their way leaving the property, he was like, "Look, let me tell you." He said, "I'm gonna go ahead and put a offer down on the property." I think they wanted 1.3. He was like, I'm gonna put 1.1, whatever it was. But he's like, I'm gonna go ahead and put it. He said, but I'm telling you, I'm doing this off the strength of you. And you're the only person that I want to deal with. Now, in her mind, that translated to I don't want to split no money with him. I don't want to work with him. I think what he was saying was, you're my point person. Like, and he even said that. He was like, whatever deal y'all got worked out, that's between the two of y'all. But I'm telling you that I don't really want to deal with him. I only want to talk to you through this process. Meaning, when I have questions about my contract, when I come in to sign my contract, when there are any issues between me and the owner of the unit, you're the only person I want to talk to. I did not translate that into he wanted to cut her out of the deal. And that's how she sort of translated it in her mind. I didn't quite pick that up, but okay. So Ajane goes and talks to another realtor friend of hers, and he shows her another property, this nice vineyard. And she basically says, "Look, I have this opportunity with Sean Kingston, but he doesn't want to work with, the boss. He only wants to work with me, but we had already arranged the split, but he's basically saying he wants to split the commission with me." Again, that ain't how I read that. But what her friend told her was right. I think Andrew, because Andrew's on the show too. What Andrew told her was right. Andrew said, "Look, that's quick money." He said, "You in this for long money. And what you don't want is to create a reputation as being somebody who back cuts and side cuts and cuts people out of deals. Like, you don't want to come across as that person." He was like, "He did you a favor by bringing you in on this. And if y'all agreed to 60/40, then that's what you need to honor the 60/40. You need to let him know that Sean doesn't want to deal with him." That's the other thing that was bothering me. They kept calling people by their first name. Like, if I ain't even no damn celebrity. But if I'm going to be shown the property and this is my first time meeting you and I'm the client, you calling me by my last name. Unless I've told you you can call me by my first name. I don't know. They was calling Vanessa, and Sean. It wasn't no Mr. Kingston and Miss Simmons. But anyway, that was just something that was kind of bothering me. But they went on to but he told her, he was like, "You need to have a talk with him and let him know that Sean wants you to be point on the entire deal. But as far as the commission, that don't have nothing to do with Sean. The commission is split in-house. He can't dictate who gets what amount of money. Um and so he told her right. Now, we're gonna see whether she listens or not, but he did tell her right. Then we back over with my first guy, the football Zach. Thank you, Zach. And we see him with another broker. They used to date. They're in the gym. And they're sort of flirting again. He said, "Look, when me and her dated, I was still in my Playboy phase. I was just coming out of the NFL. I was transitioning, going through all that. But I'm in a different place now, and I'm kind of giving her the side eye a little bit, kind of giving her that look over, like, maybe we can, maybe we can't type situation." And they flirting. They having their little moment. I think Kelly. I think her name is Kelly. But and she's in it. She's in real estate. She's doing really well for herself. So we see now we getting into a little bit of the romance. So okay, we see them flirting a little bit, little flirt. So we end off with all of them at happy hour. They say, it ain't a whole lot of people of color in this industry on this high end, part of it. So we all, meet up, we get together periodically. Whoever close, I think it's once a week. They said whoever closed the biggest deal that week picks up the bill, and we take it from there. And so they get to talking, and Miss Taylor was hating a little bit on Miss Anjanae because the whole Sean Kingston thing came up. And Taylor was like, well, an offer don't mean nothing. It ain't nothing till you cash that check. It ain't nothing till there's money in the bank. I mean, that don't impress me. Just because the offer was made don't impress me, because that don't even mean nothing. And I was like, well, damn, you hating for real? Like, dang, you know what I mean? I was like, that's kind of wow. Why you hating like that on my man? And I mean, on my girl. And so then that's when the whole and then she had on a low cut top. So somebody was like, were you wearing that when you closed the deal? And she was like, I wasn't, but if I was, she was like, if I was wearing this, the deal would have been closed even faster. But then, she said in her confessional, she was like, I'm not selling sex. And she said something about we had a very intimate conversation on the way home. Now, granted, intimate can be a provocative word, but I knew what she meant. She just meant a private conversation, a one-on-one conversation. I didn't take it as anything sexual, but of course, they took it there. So then that's when she pulled her boss aside. I was like, you know what? We kind of need to talk. Um, and she pulled him aside and let him know, like, this is what Sean said. He wants to deal with me as point, you know. And he appreciated it. He told her, he was like, I appreciate it. It is, he's the client. And if that's what he wants, it is what it is. I'm all about making this deal. Like, if that's what it takes to close the deal, then that's fine. I'm fine with that. But you could tell he really appreciated the fact that she came at him straightforward and let him know what the dealio was. The other thing is, Anjanae likes Mr. Andrew, the guy that I really, the guy that took her to the vineyard. So we're gonna see how that worked out. But Miss Taylor and Arjanae Taylor kept making little smart comments and kept snapping. Taylor, I don't know if you want parts of. I think it's either Detroit or Chicago, but I don't think you want either. It don't matter which one. You don't want no parts. I don't think you want that. I don't think you want that. But anyway, so that's what we dealt with the first episode. I'm gonna get the second episode came on last night. So I'm gonna get the second episode out and we're gonna see how it rolls. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.